Hey, it's Dave.
And Dan.
And welcome to another episode of Hooked On Headwaters. Today we're going to give you a weekly fishing and lake report. It is quite windy. The wind's behind us, but mic's in front of us, so it should sound good. But so anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Capt Dan. He's going to give us a weekly update and report, and I got a couple announcements to follow.
Oh, okay. So the trips I've had this week, it's been kind of up and down. I had a trip Tuesday, and it wasn't an easy trip. We caught a decent number of fish, but it wasn't easy. Then Wednesday, we caught them good. And then Thursday, it was difficult again until later in the day. And we basically had the same conditions all week.
Right.
You know, mostly out of northern winds. Now they're coming around to east.
Yeah.
So, but most of my trips were live bait trips. We did do a little bit of artificial fishing. I've been fishing in areas where I believe the fish are, they're moving. I think they're basically done with the spawn. There might be stragglers, but I think that's behind us now.
Right.
So moving forward is, I think these fish there's some that are, the areas I'm fishing, they're moving. I've got some places where I'm like spot fishing, where I'm anchored down and fishing with shiners.
Yep.
I found yesterday my free line shiners were doing better than ones under the float. The day before, it was different. Each day is different.
What do you think? What's causing it?
Well, sometimes I just don't know.
They just change their mind.
It's one of these. It's a humbling fishing. It can be very humbling if you do it a lot, because I was telling my guy yesterday, because we were both. He's an accomplished fisherman from up in the Northeast, and we're both getting frustrated because of the way the fish were biting. It seemed like they'd bite, and before you'd pick up the rod and set the hook, they'd spit it out. And that happened probably 10, 12 times yesterday, maybe more.
Okay.
And we had a lot of misses on hook sets. So the fish were just acting kind of strange. And then later in the day, after about 12 o'clock, the bites started picking up, and they were eating the baits and holding on to the bait. So maybe it has something to do with, I think we're about a new moon right now.
Yeah, we had a front earlier in the week, that came through.
And that dropped our water temperature about 6 or 7 degrees.
Okay.
So, that can throw them for a loop.
Okay.
It wasn't anything crazy, but it's a change of weather. We had, about 2 weeks worth of consistent weather.
Yep.
And then we have a front. And every time that we have a change in the weather patterns, it takes a few days for the fish to get back going. But there's still plenty of fish to be caught.
Oh, yeah.
We still ended up with like 30 fish yesterday, 30, almost 40 the day before.
Nice.
So, we're catching them, But,
and Captain Jerry sent us, he sent me a picture, a couple of nice ones. So I'll post them. I'll post them below.
Yeah, we had a 7 even nice yesterday on a shiner. So, we're getting some good quality fish.
Yeah, they're still out there, folks. That's for sure.
Yeah, the question we always get, I get it on the boat, people thought, when's the best month? When's the best month? And Jerry and I are like, well, January, February, March, pretty good, so we're booked up. And they are good months, but April can be a great month. I've had some nice days this month. I had a 10-pounder 2 weeks ago. I've had a couple of 8s, a couple 7s. So the fishing is still good in April, and it's not hot yet. Once we get on into the summer, it starts getting hot, it gets more uncomfortable.
Yeah, and when that happens, you just tend to go out earlier in the day, so you can get off the water by 11 o'clock or so.
You're back and have the boat on the trailer at 11.
The fish are still there. They're not going anywhere. They don't take vacation during the summer. So.
No, they eat all summer.
They eat all summer long.
So, but it's been pretty good.
Yeah, good. What particular bait has worked for you this week?
A wild golden shiner. Well, my trips were mostly live bait this week.
Were they? Okay.
We did throw a little bit of artificial, some worms, a jerkbait. I can get into that in a little while.
Yep.
That's been doing pretty good.
Okay.
What I try to do is figure out what my customers want to do and work with them as to what I think is going to be most successful and their desires, what they'd like, and we go from there.
Yep.
We threw a little topwater yesterday morning and didn't really have much activity, but the entire morning was not overly productive. You know,
Right.
so I mean, we were catching fish on live bait, but it was just still kind of slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, it's been all right. But artificial wise, I haven't done much this particular week.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this guy you have right
I
there.
don't really want to.
This has been the secret bait.
And it's not a secret bait. This bait's like a 40-year-old bait, probably. Not this particular one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I had found over the course of the months where we have colder weather and cold water, I was throwing a suspending jerkbait a lot, and my customers kept getting hung in the grass. They were, you know, because the bait stand deeper.
Yep.
I was fishing shallower water. So I'd put on the old bomber. You know, this, and some of you guys are probably not aware, this particular color, it's a bomber long A. It's got gold flash, and it's got tiger stripe. This was a big thing back in the early 2000s, late 90s, through the 90s, early 2000s.
Saltwater plug as well, using saltwater.
But this particular color is real good. This one, and there's another, you know, as you can see, it's got an orange belly, black back. Inside, it's got a gold mirror type finish, like a mylar or whatever you call it. There's another one that looks more like a shiner pattern instead of the tiger stripe. It's got a gold mirror inside.
Right, right.
Those are the two that I've been fishing. I've caught some on silver, inside silver with the black and orange belly, black back.
Okay.
But that's really been my best. I don't want to say it, but it's been my best lure as of late. I'm catching them on other things, so don't go and buy 50 of them and just throw. Not that you think that highly of everything I say, so you know, I'm just saying.
And that's the bomber, right?
That's the bomber long A,
long A, yep.
4.5 inch.
Yep. Yep. Good.
And
good
they make
lure.
a shorter one.
Right.
It's like a 3, and you can catch them on that too, but they'll eat this thing up.
Yeah.
They come with okay hooks. The hooks aren't bad. I just changed these. I wore the other ones out. They gotten dull, and I threw them away, and I put Gamakatsus on it.
Okay.
But good hooks are sharp. Very sharp hooks are important. What I've been finding a lot of times is when the fish are non-committal, and it's kind of what played into, I think, what was happening with the shiners this week. When they're non-committal, they'll swat and hit a bait.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of times you'll catch a fish will be hooked on the outside of the mouth, on the cheek, throat, and the side. Sometimes with like a bow and arrow where it's like bent in half. I think what they're doing is coming up and hitting the bait and not trying to eat it, just trying to kill it. And I think that's what's happening with our shiner bite the last couple of days. So some other things about the bait, the way that I fish it, you know, a lot of guys are nice and easy. I hit it real hard. What happens, and you can catch them both ways, so that's just the way I do it.
Right.
You know, just because it's the way Dan does it doesn't make it always right. But I've been catching fish on it. So what I'll make a cast, and I hit it hard. And what it does when you hit it, when you jerk it harder, you know, so the action of the bait changes. So an easy jerk the bait, it'll swim.
Right.
And swim. When you jerk it real hard, it's more erratic. And sometimes when you get it close to the boat and you jerk it real hard, you'll see that it turns sideways. So I jerk the thing really hard, but I don't do a continuous cadence or anything like that. I make it erratic. I don't do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't do 1, 2, 3. I'll just go and fish it how I think I need to fish it. Okay, so with this bait, you're going to get your bites on the paws. What I've noticed when I hand this bait to a lot of people, they want to fish it like basically continuously giving it action.
Right.
And sometimes the longer you wait, the more bites you get. So as I was saying, I work the bait down. I'll cast to a likely area, whether it be holes in hydrilla, which I caught a lot of in hydrilla flats, down ditch lines. There's a lot of ditch lines out there in headwaters that you can find, or you know, along the edges of cattails and things like that. So I work the bait down, and I'll hit it 2 or 3 times, and I'll pause.
Right.
Now, as I finish my pause, or when I pause it, the last thing I pick up the little bit of slack that's there.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then if we're fishing together, I can have a conversation with you, and if he bites it, I just pull
Man.
him. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I've had several fish, many fish. While I've cast, I will let it come all the way back to the surface sometimes and let it sit, but I pick up my slack because a lot of times they'll blow up and on the surface.
Right.
And it's just sitting there.
Yep.
So the key to me is to jerk the bait real hard, long pauses. Not 3 seconds. I mean, I'll work it fast sometimes. Just change it up and figure out what the fish are doing to what you're doing right to get the bite. And I've found that almost every time, a longer pause is better.
Yep.
Catch more fish. And I've had some big ones on this.
Yep.
Matter of fact, the other day I was fishing in an area with some folks. We were fishing with shiners. We ran out of live bait.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, ran out of live bait. Now the guy, I think they had already caught a 7 and an 8, and then they caught 5s and 6s.
Nice.
And I don't like just throwing out these numbers, but these are actual size of the fish on live bait.
Yeah.
Picked this bait up, handed it to a guy, and we pulled out right from where we were just catching fish on live bait. He threw this thing and he hooks a fish. He's like, oh, I got a big one. I look back and this thing jumps, and he caught it, and it was an 8-12. It was the biggest fish we caught, and we caught it on that.
How about that? Nice.
I don't always catch it on it, but I have been catching them a lot on that. I've thrown that every day. I've been out there for quite a while.
Great. Okay.
So,
Thanks, Captain Dan.
Yep.
We went out this week, and I did notice that the water was murky.
In a couple areas, the water is a little dirty. I think it's mainly due to the wind.
The wind.
What concerns me more is the water level. I think we're down 1.5 feet from where I was not nervous about running around. There's places that I'm not running now because I've been bumping bottom. So you got to be careful. Don't like the East-West Canal. There's only a couple places that you can get through. Guys, remember the S Canal. Basically, there's 2 ways out of that thing. The far south end is blocked. I saw a guy the other day early in the morning before the sun's up, and you see that he tried to turn to the east. He was running south, tried to turn to east out of the West Canal, not through the opening that's there, but where there's water, and he got stuck. He just couldn't see. The opening to as you're running down the S Canal, the one where you can get out and go to the North Pits, I'd advise being very careful there. You're probably going to hit bottom in that area. So if you want to go to the north-south pit, what I would do is I'd go out the west cut, turn around and go back where the S Canal and the East-West Canal meet and go through there. It's a safer way to go, but still be careful, especially at that intersection. The water is down, so be careful. And then there's other places around that, if you're familiar with the lake, where it was a bit shallower, and we've talked about this in videos before, you'll run along and everything's going fine, and you'll feel your boat lift and settle. And lift and settle. What's happening is you're going over very shallow water, and that basically that water doesn't have time to move out of the way of the boat, so it provides extra lift. So or it doesn't compress. Water doesn't compress, so it doesn't have enough time to move out of the way. So if you're feeling that, you're in an area with some shallow water. And there's some places I was feeling that before the water got low. So just be careful. Don't be scared, but just be cognizant of the fact that the water is low.
So once again, that the end or near the East-West Canal, the S Canal is blocked off. It's pretty solid. So you're not going to get through it. So just keep that in mind. And as Captain Dan said, go out that west cut there just before the East, which is about 2 miles. About 2 miles, 2.25 miles down. Go down and around the East-West Canal and come back. If you want to go to the north, to the east side or the North Pits. So
and navigation-wise, we've mentioned it before. If you want to go to the 45. When you turn out of the west cut and you want to go to the flagpole, 250 degrees. That'll take you there. Just look at your GPS, it'll be on there. Well, if you don't, you can set it up. Your reciprocal heading coming back is going to be 070, 70 degrees coming back. So you turn out from the flag and run 70 degrees coming back to the east, and it'll take you right to the opening. Also, we mentioned in the last couple videos, please be careful at the intersection. I see guys, we saw a guy blaze through there yesterday, probably, I don't know how fast he was going, but it wasn't 25. But at 25 and 2 boats hit.
Yeah, that is a blind spot. You don't see boats coming,
can't see
crossing. So
we need a stop
careful.
sign there.
You do.
Like,
you do.
You know, but would anybody obey that?
Yep.
But no, really, guys, you got to please be careful. I'm seeing a lot of guys just blazing through there. I know we're all excited about catching fish, but nobody's excited about going to a funeral. So.
Right, that's right. That brings us to the end. I want to thank Capt Dan. And before we end it, I want to thank the Blue Cypress Lakeside Cabins. If you're looking for a really rustic place to stay, make sure you give them a call right on the shorelines of Blue Cypress Lake. Really cool spot, big porch, nice rooms, really comfortable setting. And of course, you can keep your boat right there nearby the boat ramp. And American Bait Works, thanks for their partnership. If you this is one from them.
We were actually fishing with some Halo rods yesterday.
That's coming up.
Talking about this. We're working on this punching.
That is coming up.
Halo rods.
And if you do go to the website, AmericanBaitWorks.com for tackle, rods, lures.
They got all kinds of topwater frogs.
They do.
Soft plastic.
It's Scum Frog. It's one of their products. You can get a 15% discount if you use the Headwaters 15 coupon code. Now, there are other codes out there, but we would appreciate if you use ours, as it helps you support our channel. So everyone have a great week. See you in the next one, and God bless.
See you guys.